South Africa were beaten comprehensively by the West Indies. And I don't know. I went into this series with not much excitement, to be honest. We just came off a very intense test series. It's only two test matches. But I was getting back into the flow, of talking about test cricket and the purest form of the game, and talking about strategies and talking about game plans and all of these type of things. And now we're back again with a T20 review. Now, I don't want to be a Scrooge over here with regards to T20 cricket, but we've covered a lot of it in this last couple of months. And there isn't really too much in-depth discussion and review you can actually give for something like this. uh, you can talk about the main points, and which I'm going to be doing on today's show. But there isn't actually a hell of a lot to talk about, and I'm going to try to do my best to give you guys a review of this match. Um, it was a match that we were we only really got pleasure from it for a small period of the game. You could probably say about an hour or so it was a pleasurable watch for South Africa. The rest of the match, it was West Indies all on top. And I'm going to get into that on the show today. But before we get going, before we get started, there's a couple of things I'd like you guys to please do. First, subscribe, click that notification bell for all future videos. I'd also like you guys to please subscribe to Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. Link is on the screen as well as in the description. Smash that like button, comment, and share. And make sure you do that after we end the stream. Please get into the comment section and comment over there. This will also be a preview for tomorrow's game, which will start at 9 o'clock as well. So please give me your thoughts on who you'd like to see in the match tomorrow. Who do you like to see come in for who? And let me know what your thoughts are about that. Same ground, same wicket, probably. And we'll have to wait and see what this delivers. But without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your review show. I'm your host, Khalid. This is the show where we talk about everything that has to do with the first T20I between South Africa and the West Indies in the West Indies, of course, against a team that is obviously shown their dominance over South Africa in the past. So first and foremost, let's start with the starting 11 because that was probably the major talking point. We had Ryan Rickelton and Reza Hendricks opening the batting. We had Aiden Markram batting at 3 as the skipper, Tristan Stubbs at 4, Rassie van der Dussen at 5, Donovan Ferreira batting at 6, Patrick Kruger at 7, Bjorn Fortuin at 8, Kwena Mapaka at 10, and Nandre Berger and Otniel Butler at 9, 10, at 10 and 11. South Africa were put into bat first, and it was a very underwhelming performance from our batters, particularly our top three. They were awful. There's no other way to put it. And I don't think it was necessarily because of the West Indies bowling. I would say that the players seem to have misread the conditions completely. This wasn't the same type of wicket as the wicket in the World Cup that we played. There was it looked like a lot easier to bat on, maybe a little bit tricky with the overhead conditions and with the covers coming off the wicket. Obviously, was going to be a little bit more spongy, and I think those conditions obviously played a part in perhaps us losing our wickets, almost maybe misreading the conditions. But I feel that a little bit more patience should have been shown. And I don't think that Ryan, Reza, Aiden impressed much. Again, Aiden falling into that trap of getting himself in and then getting himself out. When I say that, I mean him giving his wicket away. And I feel that Riza gave his wicket away, misjudging a delivery or misplaying the ball delivery, playing or I don't know if it was changing his mind on the last minute or what it was that made him play that shot, but it was a poor shot and it wasn't executed well, and he ended up losing his wicket as well. And ultimately, I just want to talk about two guys because ultimately they were the only guys that gave us something to defend, and that was Tristan Stubbs and Patrick Kruger. Now, I've been speaking about Tristan for a while now, and I feel now he has silenced some of his doubters by showing them what he can do when he bats at four. The guy came in with South Africa at 23 for 3 after 4.1 overs, and even though he lost two partners in Rassie and Donovan, he went on to play a magnificent knock. It was balanced, it was demanding, it was powerful, it was fantastic the way he read the conditions well too. He scored 76 of 42 balls at a strike rate of 180.95. 8 4s, 3 6s. He was absolutely fantastic in this match. And I've always said that when he has a little bit more time at the crease to get himself in, that is when he performs his best because I feel that he is perfect at number four for South Africa in this format. And I would say even in the ODI format too, I would bat him higher up the order because he can be this destructive. And he might not be destructive from ball one, but he does build himself into the match. He learns the conditions, and then he's able to to pull out shots that helps him adapt to the conditions from in an attacking way. And I think that's what makes him so fantastic. I think when you talk about 360 games in South Africa, and you know that is a term that was coined or attached to someone like AB de Villiers, and people are always looking for the next 360 player. I think that Tristan Stubbs is probably the closest to a 360 player that we have in a South African team at the moment. To me, he's absolutely fantastic when he gets some time at the crease, and he showed that in this match. And I think him, as well as Patrick Kruger, need to get plaudits for the way they played. It was very sad that Patrick Kruger couldn't go on to score his first milestone for the Proteas. He went out on 44 of 32 balls, 4 4s and 2 6s, a strike rate of 137.50. I felt that he grew into the match more and more, and he was quite destructive when he needed to be. But ultimately, he took South Africa past the 100-run mark with with Tristan Stubbs, and then Bjorn Fortuin came in and he held his own to stay at the crease a little bit longer with Tristan, so that they can push on to score a competitive total on the ground. I wouldn't have said it was enough. I think we were about 20 short, um, um, maybe about 15 to 20 runs short. And Tristan was visibly upset when he lost his wicket because I think he felt the same. He probably knew that there was there was runs left in the middle, and not like we would have gotten there. We probably wouldn't have gotten to that 15, 20 runs that we needed, even if he stayed at the crease, because he lost his wicket on the penultimate ball of the over. So he probably would have pushed us on maybe close to 180, but we probably wouldn't have even gotten there. But I did feel after this particular innings that we were run short and 15 to 20 runs short. But this has given me the an easy job when it comes to predicting or suggesting what should be the next starting 11. We at least now know the two players that must start in the next game, and that's Tristan Afil and Patrick Kruger. I think Patrick Kruger has deserved another opportunity to play. So I'd hope that they weren't thinking of rotating the all-rounders in this particular series, because there are two other guys, Vian Mulder and Jason Smith, on the bench that I put in my starting 11 actually for this game. Let's get into the bowling attack. Um, we obviously had Quena Mapaka on his debut over here, and he bowled okay. I mean, at least he got the wicket, a wicket of Rowan Powell, which is a big scalp to take out the captain. Especially, I know it was maybe towards a victory for the West Indies. They were close to a victory when that wicket fell. Ultimately, it was just Athanaze and Puran and Hope that just slammed South Africa. We weren't able to take wickets um, consistently. The wickets were spread out. We ended up taking a wicket in the eighth over, then the 14th over, and then the 18th over. So we weren't able to take wickets consistently. And the West Indies just tore us apart. Athene scored 40 of 30. Shea Hope scored 51 of 36. Nicholas Puran scored 65 of 26. They just dominated us completely, battered us off the park. They won, in fact, with 3 overs remaining, or 2 overs remaining, 2.1 overs remaining. So it's never nice to lose a match like this. 13 balls still remaining, and the West Indies won by 7 wickets. So we were completely dominated by the West Indies, and there's no other way to put it. I hope we're going to see a much more improved performance in the next game. I'm hoping to see Jason Smith get thrown in here and get an opportunity, because I feel that this should be about that, giving players an opportunity. None of the batters, the senior players, performed. None of the players that we wanted to see take their chances performed. Ryan didn't. Riza was terrible. Rassi was terrible. Donovan Ferreira was terrible. So ultimately, we need a massive improvement from those guys. I think giving those batters another chance, I think picking them, that's okay. Others feel that we maybe need to do something at the bottom a little bit more. And I would like to see um, I would like to see the other all rounders also get opportunities now, and that's what I'm here for this series. I want to see the guys that we haven't seen play before get chances. I mean, Othniel Bartman was brilliant. He got 2 for 30, but we needed him to be a little bit more clinical, and be that strike bowler for South Africa, in the absence of KG Rabada and Andrich Nokia. We needed Othniel Bartman to be that guy, and I think he delivered. Nande Berger was terrible. I mean, he couldn't find his rhythm at all. He was not for 47 after 3 overs. He went for economy rate of 15. Aiden only bowled 1 over and he went for 21 runs. So the bowling wasn't good, but the pitch did get a little bit easier to bat on for the West Indies as the game went on. So it did make it a little bit easier for them to perform and get the result. But ultimately, it was a disappointing performance from South Africa, and we're hoping for an improved performance in the next match. I'd like to see Jason Smith come in to the side and see what he can do, perhaps um, for Rassi, or perhaps for um, Nandre, one of the two. I would like to see him come in, because I don't think Quena deserves to be dropped or swapped out, and I don't think Othniel Bartman deserves to be swapped after their performances. So you're going to have to ultimately just reward the players that did well by giving them another chance. And I feel that it's not fair to drop Ryan right now, and we don't really necessarily have another top order batters to drop Riza, I feel. So I guess that's why they picked the selection, to try and give certain players um, a little bit more belief in themselves. Let's get into the live chat and see what you guys have had to say. Sam says, surely next match I will drop Riza and put Rassi to open with Ryan and give either Vian or Jason chance in the middle. Sam says, Khalid seeing growing Stubbs at 4 is good, but feel bad of Aiden. He was good at 4 in T20 and ODIs, but why coach is changing his position at 3? Stubbs can bat at 3 in the test, then why not in? It doesn't make a massive difference, Sam. 3 and 4. Um, that isn't the reason Aiden isn't performing well. Aiden should be able to perform well at 3. There's no excuse for him at the moment. I feel he is good enough to be able to bat at 3 and be dominant. He just hasn't come to the party in quite some time now, and he needs to improve that. Sam says Aiden, different position in different formats. That quite frustrating as a batter. He opens in tests, was so good at four in white ball, but he was moved to three. I don't think that is the reason. I don't think that is a massive jump for us to be able to say that. The roles are almost identical. Kani Khalid, in recent years, we have tried Janssen, Andile, and Parnell as all rounders in white ball cricket, and they weren't able to fill that role. It's now time for Patrick Kruger, Bayers, and Forrester. I think Forrester needs a season in first division cricket first before we start judging him and saying that he deserves a first um, a call up to the national side. He needs to prove it in Division One before we get him to start to talk about him as an option. Bayer Swanepoel needs another good season and and needs to show more consistency with the bat. I feel for him to get that role um, in the side. We are craving for all rounders that can bat rather than batters that can rather than all bowlers that can bat a little. We're looking for bowlers that can bat. What am I saying? We're looking for bowlers that can bat well, not bowlers that can bat a little. And we're looking for obviously batters that can bowl a little. I think that is the position that we are missing in South Africa's team. Khalid, to be honest, why Rob backing Riza and Rasi? Why they not? If once if experienced, then why not Faf? He's still available. No, not going to go down the Faf route. Um, Aslan Ahmed says, why are we investing these opportunities in Riza and Rasi? You don't get anything making them play this. It puzzled me when the selection came to the series and we saw Rasi in the team. And I feel that we know enough about Riza as well. But I think he wanted to get Riza back into form again. And I also feel that he probably wanted some seniority in the team as well. And also, I think the reason why Riza's in the team is because they believe he's our number one opener in the side. I think that they want to allow Riza and they want to allow Riza and Rickleton to start building that connection and relationship in the middle, even though they do have a good relationship from playing at the Lions. Sam says, to be honest, this was a batting pitch. It was not quite difficult pitch to bat on, but SA giving away wickets by playing rash shots is always known, and that was the problem in this match. I do feel it was a little bit tricky, perhaps for the first 2-3 overs or so, for the first 10 to 15 minutes of the game. But then it got easier to bat on as you went along. So I felt that maybe the top order had to stick around a little bit for a couple of overs before they accelerated. And all of them have the ability to be able to do so. So it was just misjudgment, and it was I felt that they misjudged the conditions. In what I'm scared says, I love Stubbs, bro. He's making me watch every ball he plays since SA20. Since AB Stubbs is first player, I'm something on. Hopefully, he is to be one of the greats. Hopefully, he will be. Khalid, I would like to see Kruger, Bayers, and Pretorius give opportunities in number seven position at ODIs as well. Sam says even Riza was struggling to bat when Aiden arrived. He played some good shots, and Riza still searching for a run, and that made Aiden go. Stop making excuses for Aiden, Sam. Um, you you can't you can't make that is the role of a number three to come in when the wickets have fallen and to do his job and play his part. You can't blame Riza for Aiden's failures. That's not fair at all. Because then you can blame other players for Riza's failure as well. Then, you that's not how it works. Players need to take responsibility for their own mistakes in the side. Um, Arslan says Riza and Rasi are naturally not aggressive batters. Look at all other teams and their top three; they are aggressive. Riza is aggressive when he's in form. And currently, he's really struggling with his form and his confidence at the moment. And I don't know why that is. He was about 9, 10 months ago to a year, he was looking unstoppable, confident. Like every single innings that he played, he was going to score runs. We can't. You can't say that the player is not good enough if he can do things like that. There's something else that is blocking Riza's performance, and I just don't know what it is. Sam says, to be honest, for Taines, nothing offers something different. He just looks too bold to just complete his over and no wicket taking option. And he got CSA control, central contract, and also undelivered require who got CSA contract. At least Rija should have been work on his not plays test, neither ODI regularly, so he should be working on being aggressive T20 batter and get IPL contract as well, but he's still not and don't know why. Roderick says Rassi should be benched for Mulder or Smith. I agree there. That's what I think should happen. Khalid, it's high time we move on from Ngidi. Start investing in younger bowlers. Guys not fit enough to play cricket. I feel that we are already investing in younger cricketers. Quinn Mapaka is coming through the system. Tristan Lewis is also another player that has been talked about quite a bit, and he's been given opportunities in the emerging sides. So there is investment in other cricketers. But until they're ready, Lungis can be handy if he can get himself fit. Because when he is fit, we know how devastating he can be. Otniel is unstoppable at the moment, and Lungi ruled out because of calf injury. Give Rasi to open and Riza to drop. I would continue with I would rather continue with Riza Hendricks, who will probably be who is who is still one of the best openers in this format for South Africa. I would rather go with him and Rickleton if because we know that Rasi didn't even make the World Cup side. So why still continue with him and waste time of getting Riza back into form? If the coach believes in Riza, we're going to have to accept that. And if we accept that, then we have to say that Riza has to play. We have to kind of accept what the coach is going to do. We don't have to agree with it. So obviously, I'm not saying guys agree with what the coach says, agree that Riza should play, all of those things. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is if we can see that Rob is backing Riza, then we have to accept the fact that he should start then and play with Rickleton if Rickleton's going to be our next opener next to Riza. It's pointless us giving players an opportunity in the opening position and taking game time away from a guy that is going to be starting for South Africa. That doesn't make logical sense to play someone that's not going to make a World Cup side. If you get to understand my point of view there, I don't know if I communicated it correctly. No use playing them, says Aslan. But there is use playing them if Coach Rob wants Riza as his opening batter, then there is 100% use in playing him. In my time scale says Riza and Rashi should make way now. Insert Mulder for Rasi. Aslan says, I will never understand Proteas' love affair with Riza. He was always a slow starter. He did improve his batting temperament a couple of years ago, but that was 2 or 3 series. Right up until the World Cup, Riza Hendricks was our best T20 batter. Most consistent, was our best T20 batter right up until the T20 World Cup. And everything changed in that World Cup. Like in the warm-ups and in the World Cup, I don't know what went a switch went off. Good to see young Mapaka bowling. Rasi is far better than Riza. If he opens, Riza also struggles in his 20, while Rasi on fire for MI Cape Town when he opens. Aslan says, oh yes, Tristan Stubbs have that order when he bats. I hope his desire to play all three formats continues. Gaurav says, when will Markram perform? 33 average in T20, 36 average in ODI, 35 in average in Test. And you're right. We're all waiting for Aiden Markram to kick on and become the player that we all know he is. Ryan is wasting his chance, says Gaurav. He needs to take his chances now, definitely, because he is getting now opportunities and everybody has been calling for him to get starts, and it's unfair that he hasn't been starting. So when he does get the opportunity, he needs to take those chances because there aren't going to be many around because we don't play enough cricket from a test perspective for him to get a whole lot of chances there. So he needs to take his chance there. We don't play nearly enough ODI cricket. So when he gets an opportunity there, he needs to take his chance. In T20 cricket, it's a little bit different. We play a lot more T20s. So there's many chances for Rickleton to still show himself as the player that he is. But since since he's been given Proteas colors, he hasn't turned it up yet. So we're waiting for that to happen. Um, Riza needs to improve because he might not get SA20 contract. With Marco being best all rounder at 8, who would you have at 7, Mulder or someone else? I would have to see Mulder. I would like Patrick Kruger there at the moment based on his performance yesterday. But for me, I think the jury's still out for that number 7 position, batting all rounder position. I want to see more opportunities being given for number 7s and then pick the best one out of them over a period of time. I think we need to see it. That's why I wanted to see all three, because 6, 7, 8, if you can have all your all rounders batting there, um, the chances are when there's a collapse, you're going to get to see all of them bat. So that's what I would like to see. I would like to see all of them given a chances over a period of time, and then we see what happens. Who's the one that steps up? Who's the one that puts up their hand? Because ultimately, we need to find that 7. We've been looking for a 7 for 5 years now. I feel it's been a long, long battle. NY Times says Riza 7 or 8 continues man of the match in T20 before 2020 World Cup, 2022 World Cup. Riza, I'm not hating him, but he always slow starter, so he should work on this. And he goes out on defense. His defensive technique should also need work. I'm sorry, but best T20 batters were Klaasen or Miller. Riza was never the best. I'm talking about in the bilaterals leading up to the tournament. Riza Hendricks was the one that was in form and kept his form. Klaasen started kicking on in the SA20 and in the IPL, etc. In the bilateral series for South Africa, he wasn't performing at that level. But I don't care about that. For Heinrich Klaasen and for David Miller, they are X factor players, and I feel that they're supposed to win you games in important matches, and they won't do it every game. And I forgive them for that because that's the type of players that they are in the positions that they're batting. I don't expect my 6s and 5s to be consistently scoring 50s and half centuries, because they're not always going to do so. They're not always going to be put in a match situation to do so if your top order performs. I want to see consistency, though, from our top order. And I feel that Riza in the last 2 years has been way more consistent with the bat in T20 cricket than any of our other top 3 batters. He's been better than Aiden, and I'm a big Aiden Markram fan. And he's been, all I want to see is Aiden perform, but he's been more informed than Aiden Markram. Aiden did score a couple of good runs, and he has got a couple of good performances in the World Cup where it mattered, and that's where Riza let everybody down. Because leading up to World Cup in the bilateral series for South Africa, he was incredible. At the last CSA T20, as the last CSA awards, he won T20 Player of the Year. So that shows it as well. Jordan saying smash the like. Mensa, please smash the like button, guys. Very important that you guys do so. Kani says, Khalid, if this goes on like this, Riza might go unsold in the auction like Yanaman Malan. NY Times says, Aslan, you watch Proteas since 24 World Cup. Riza Hendricks has been opening the T20 since the early 90s. I think it's time we move on since the early 90s. Says it's beyond imagination how Riza and Rasio are selected, considering how horrendous Riza performed in the World Cup and their age, instead of giving opportunities to youngsters. And that's what I did say heading into this. I would have rather seen a Matthew Brzezinski get a chance at the top of the order, or a Jordan Herman, perhaps, maybe, or I think it's a little bit too early, maybe, for Dewald Brevis. I think he needs a good domestic season. And he needs to start scoring runs in the different tournaments that he's playing as well. But I would have liked to see rather younger players. We know what Riza offers. We know what Rassi offers. You can kind of just put them. I don't feel that they need to play all of these bilateral series. If you want to select them for a World Cup, I think give them a couple of series before a World Cup to get themselves into form and to prove that they should be selected, and then select them because they're in form. But at the moment, when we have so many different bilateral series being played and the next T20 is only in 2026, you need to give chances to players and see what they can do. Maybe someone steps up. In my time squeeze, I don't think 4, 5, 6 is going anywhere besides Stubbs, Klassen, and Miller. Yeah, of course they're not. Um, I don't think that's going to change. I think that is probably the most. I think, to be honest with you, 3, 4, 5, 6 is sealed on because Aiden Markram's our captain. So 3, 4, 5, 6 is sorted. The opening positions need to be sorted out now that Quinton Lecoq is leaving, and we need a number 7. I feel those are the two positions we need to fill. Um, Sarath, why didn't Jason Smith play? I can't understand the thinking of the management. Yeah, I hope that he gets the chance in the next game. I really want to see him play. In the next game. Um, in what times? Because you want 20 years and you forget. You watch 20 years and you forget Riza was best SA batter in T20 since last 3 years. Aslan says in T20s, it's not about runs but impact. Riza wasn't ever our best opener. That was Quinton de Kock. Someone I expect better from a journalist. Go and ask every player who his most impactful players are in the Proteas. That's not what I said. I didn't say that Riza Hendricks is our best opener, period. I said that Riza Hendricks was our best opener and best performer over the last year, in the year leading up to the World Cup. If you go look at the stats, Quinton de Kock wasn't performing and wasn't even playing in some matches. So we know that Quinton de Kock was is on talent and on ability alone is our best was our best player. But what I was saying is that when you leading up to the World Cup, based on his performances, he was the best player, and we could see that by being rewarded by Cricket South Africa when he won T20 Player of the Year. So that's what I'm talking about. I expect better from you for listening if you want to diss me about the journalism thing. Jordan, game was lost up front. We had a slow start compared to the Windies. M. Sabir Khan, I like Captain Aiden, not player Aiden. We need improved performances from Aiden. Um, Town Square, it's not about runs in T20s. Okay. Arsenal 7, 8 man of the matches in a row, T20I, when SA win isn't impact, you mean? Um, Taim says Rob Walter is a poor selector. Why he's selecting Riza and Rassi on which performance tell? Obviously on reputation and what Rassi has been doing in the leagues that he's been playing in. That's the reason why he's done it. I don't agree with it. Now, when I explain something to you guys, and I give you reasons for something, doesn't mean that I agree with the decision. It just means that I'm trying to put it into perspective for you to try and understand the thinking behind what Rob Walter's doing. I can only go on what I've heard him say and then look at his actions. That's the only way we can come to an understanding. Otherwise, we're just going to sit here and we say, okay, the coach is an idiot or the coach doesn't know what he's doing, instead of trying to understand what he's doing. And I think that's something that I try to do my best as. I use my journalism past to try and understand it and investigate with regards to understanding what the coach is thinking based on his behaviors in the past. Try to come out with an understanding of why he does what he does. And that's what I'm trying to lay out for you guys on the show. So I'm trying to give you guys the best analysis of that based on what he says, based on what Rob Walter has said. His actions have been proving it. The only one that is but puzzling is Riza Hendricks. I feel that because he hasn't picked Riza now in this series based on performances, because Riza hasn't performed. Rassi, however, has performed in domestic cricket, has performed in the SA20, and he has performed in the matches that he's been given an opportunity here and there. But they didn't pick him for the World Cup, which is a shock. So for this new squad, I thought that they're going to go with they will pick based on um, where they are at the moment. Rob Walter, every single press conference he was asked about Riza Hendricks, he said, Rob said that Riza's a quality player. He's one of our best T20 players, and He believes he will come good. He hasn't been in the World Cup. He did not show the quality that they all know he has. So obviously, Rob Walter rates him, and that's why he's selecting him. I may you can agree or not agree. Um, that's up to that's fine, and I have nothing against you guys agreeing with that. I mean, disagreeing with that. You have every right to do so. What I'm trying to do is just give you guys a perspective. Let me just get to some of the lower questions over here. Jordan says, slow start with the bat and ball is killing us. The void of an X factor of Quinny was felt. Yes, 100%. And I thought that's why you pick a Rickleton. I think Rickleton is the person that you use that was supposed to kick on and be that aggressive player um, for us. Aslan says, but 7-8 for man of the match, and that was 2 years ago. Anyway, why would you waste this opportunity on Tyride and Tested? We know what he brings. Let let Jason or Vian play to see what they can do, and that I agree with, and that's what I said. I mean, if you listen to my preview ahead of this particular series, I questioned the selections of Riza and Rasi. I said, we need to start to think of moving on to a next generation of talent and start testing them ahead of the next World Cup. There's enough time to do so. And I said this in my preview leading up to this particular series. What I've done on this show today is just explain from a Rob Walter perspective and a Proteus perspective. NY says, I don't agree on chat about Riza, but I would like to see Ryan and Brzezinski opening in T20 in 26 World Cup. Give those two 7-8 matches, and if he failed, he can bring Riza back for the experience. That's what I said a little bit early on as well. I said that Riza doesn't necessarily need opportunities to play all the time. If the coach believes that he wants Riza at the top, or if that's the person he has identified as his opener, then I feel that he can give him a run a year of the bilateral series leading up to the World Cup. That can to get himself into form. Don't overplay him now all the time, because I feel that if he does get off with a player like him, if you get him, if he's going to knock his confidence, it's going to knock his confidence if he can't get himself into a rhythm. Um, but Riza wasn't. You keep saying he was best player, but he wasn't best opener. He was the best opener in the year leading up to the World Cup. Like, how many times I repeat myself? Like, gee, was in the year leading up to the World Cup, he scored four half centuries on a trot, bro, and he even scored and he didn't only score them in South Africa. He scored them also in India. The 2 years leading up to the World Cup, he was he was our best player. Quinton de Kock was struggling. A lot of people were talking about dropping Quinton de Kock even from the side completely for Ryan Rickleton. So where do you think that comes from? Quinton wasn't in form in the SA20. He wasn't in form in the IPL. He was performing poorly, and then he kicked it on in the 2023 World Cup again, found his form again, and he was magnificent in that tournament. And then in the T20 World Cup as well, he showed his character and class again in a couple of matches. But let's be honest over here when you're talking about it. Give credit where it's due. He was scoring consecutive half centuries, which people weren't doing. I think he broke a record for the amount of half centuries he scored in a row. With the ball beneath the long lever is of Janssen. Oh, the long lever of Janssen. He only struggled against India. Only early wickets sends Shivers down the lineup. I'm not a Riza fanboy. Um, it has been a problem for Proteas to not start well power play maximums. Yes, we know that. Steven Seagal says, I don't understand why people are so in love with Riza. He's an average player. When he plays in SA20 against decent bowling, he also struggles. Um, Sabir says Riza was of better form than Quinton de Kock. The form, he was in better form, yes. Aslan says, question still remains, who was more impactful, Riza or Quinton de Kock? This is funny now. Okay, I'm not going to even engage on this because you clearly only want to push your agenda, and I've explained it, and I think I explained it pretty decently on the the facts of the situation. Um, Janssen is still our best performer at seven, especially in white ball. The only lacks against teams like India because of big names. He will come good, but he was good numbers at seven as all rounder. He's the most impactful player in T20 side in the last 3 years, Aslan. Jordan, they will be back, guys. All new combinations. Let's support the boys and the coach. So Riza was most impactful player. So surely he was bigger wicket than any other player. You're talking to him. What impact you have seen from Riza? He always blocks bowls at starting. Quinton Lukaku, most of the time he was aggressive. Surely he was just watching World Cup and started against Riza. How old is Bryce Parsons? Unlucky players, red and white ball. Bryce Parsons is 23, I think. Now, crazy because I watched him from the age of 17 perform. Yeah, he's 23 now. They're molding him into something that we hope he can be. Aslan says you don't know what you're talking about about Times Square. Riza wasn't most important wicket in the team, never was. Official is Riza your brother? Why you smack him so much? Um, no, he's not. I'm not if like I don't know how to why I have to keep repeating myself to you guy to you. Um, okay, I'm gonna say it one more time, and I hope you listen. I said before the series, I don't know why Rob Walter has picked Risa Hendricks and Rassi van der Dussen in the squad. I would have liked to see younger players getting opportunities in this particular squad. Risa Hendricks, based on what Rob Walter has said, that he wants to he wants to reward players for putting in performances and performing um, in bilateral series or in the SA20 or in domestic cricket. If they perform there, he's going to reward them. Leading up to the World Cup, there weren't a lot of people out there that were saying that Riza doesn't deserve a chance to be selected in the World Cup. He had a terrible World Cup and didn't perform. So did other players too. He was the only player that didn't perform in the World Cup, but he was the worst out of the bunch. So, based on that, he did not deserve to be selected in this bilateral series. But I'm trying to understand Rob's thinking, and Rob has said that he trusts Riza Hendricks as his opener. He's overly if you watch the press conferences, you would hear him say that. So you have to kind of accept the fact that that's what he's going to do. Don't have to agree with it. Like I don't necessarily agree with that. I feel that there needs to be an investment in young talent in that opening position. Now that Quinton de Kock is probably going to leave, we're going to have to find a replacement for Quinny. The problem now with Quinton leaving is that you're going to have two new openers that are going to be your next generation of your openers now for the next World Cup. You need to then play them now so that they can gain the experience that we need in the World Cup, because experience is very important also in these type of matches, particularly in World Cup games. So either we need to find a replacement then, and we need to find someone that we identify as the next opener for South Africa, and then give him a chance now already. This should have been the tour where it starts. Give a younger guy an opportunity to see what he can do, and then you put them up against each other leading up to the World Cup. You assess now your new guys that you've tested. You assess them. You give you see how Riza does now in the SA20, next SA20, and in the tournaments that he plays domestically, and you give him a couple of series, one or two series to to um to get himself into form, and then select him for the World Cup. But if someone else gets an opportunity and they start scoring runs in SA20 and in the domestic scene and they start scoring runs, then you select them. That's how it should work. I don't think it should be, I don't think players should be given um, green cards or safety cards or get out of jail. I'm not going to get out of jail, safety cards, basically. They need to start playing players, I feel, that they feel are the next or the future of South African cricket. That's my opinion. I've just been trying to explain what I think Rob is thinking. That's all. Um, Sabri says Vian also deserved selection. He was given many chances and failed. Did not deserve the selection. He was given many chances and failed. Aslam says Sabir, I can understand Vian getting selected, but Rasi and Riza's selection are puzzling. And I agree with you 100% there. It was puzzling to me too. But the only thing I can think of, that's why I'm trying to give an understanding of what Rob is thinking. The only thing that makes sense to me is that he selected them because of the experience that they can offer this young squad. Because the rest of the squad is very young. There's no experience in this team whatsoever. Um, Rickleton is new. Stubbs is new. The only one is Aiden. The rest of them are all not experienced. And Otil Batman has World Cup experience now, but the rest of the squad is all very young, and new to this. Not young from an age perspective, young from an international caps perspective. Um, okay, so yeah, I'm hoping that those opportunities that I spoke about get given to Jason Smith, for example. I think he deserves a chance to now play and show what he can do. Aslan says, I get you, host. You're trying to give perspective of the coach, not yours. All good. Yes, that's exactly what I'm trying to do. Um, is trying to give perspective to the whole situation because I'm also trying to understand it. Because I've always been an advocate of planning for the next World Cup. I don't feel that we should start thinking about selections only a year out from a World Cup. I feel that 2 years, there's a 2 year cycle with this World Cup. You start from after that World Cup ends, you assess, and you start making your changes in the next series. The next series after the World Cup, you should start planning for the future, testing players, seeing who's going to step up in Proteas colours, because you can have a great domestic season and can be on top of the ranks. Aiden Markram has done it for years. Dominated SA20 in the first season, dominates domestically for the Titans, comes to the Proteas setup, supposed to be that player that's going to kick on, and then something switches off and he can't find that consistency. So you don't know how good a player is going to be until he plays for the Proteas. No matter how good he is domestically, no matter how good he's been in the SA20 or the IPL, you only know once he plays for his country how he's going to perform. And those are the type of things that I think they need to take into consideration when it comes to prepping ahead of a World Cup. They should start now and start looking for the next generation of players that are going to replace the likes of Riza, Rassi, the likes of who else is there that I think KG Rabada in the future. I don't think his time's up yet, but I'm saying in the future, start thinking about who's going to be the next player that's going to take over. Tabray Shamsi, Keshav Maharaj, who's going to be the next guy. I think we would have seen Ngaba Peter in this team, but they didn't select him because he's injured at the moment. So I think that's the reason why. So that's another spinner, I feel. Rolando says, don't think Issa should worry about results. Second, struggling bowling bilateral matches or for trying combinations. That's what they should be doing, but trying combination, trying new players. Aslan says, we can understand where the coach is coming from. My argument was if Rix doesn't take his chance, who is next? So we should have played two openers who we think can replace Quinton de Kock if coach thinks Riza is lock. I agree. I feel that we needed another opener. So for me, I think we should start selecting based. Our squad should be selected for this bilateral series based on who we want to replace in the side. Where are the gaps? We look at the squad now. We know 4, 5, 6 is taken. We know that 8 is probably taken. At the moment, 8 is occupied by by having a number 7 like Marco Janssen. So 8 is kind of, I think, occupied if you can find a number 7. So I feel 7 needs a. We need to find a 7. We need to find an opener, because I think the next person that's going to get given opportunities is Ryan Rickerton. But then I want to see him get a prolonged opportunities. And I feel that we need a backup for Riza Hendricks. If the coach believes that Riza Hendricks is the person, we need a backup for Riza Hendricks, or someone that could possibly replace him if Riza doesn't come into form. They need to put that full safe plan in place and try to identify the next person to come in instead of Riza Hendricks. Um, if Riza doesn't get to form, or if Riza gets injured, or whatever the case may be, if they are going to back Riza in the long term. Rolando says, do you think Peklekwai should be tried? Nope, I do not. He hasn't performed well enough to deserve an opportunity. I think there are other young all-rounders that deserve their chances more than him. I think um, if Andile Malani can get a good domestic season this season, I think he could be knocking on the door. I'm a big fan of his. I think Michlali Mapongwana, if he can have a good domestic season and a good tour, continue his great performances for the emerging and the SAA sides, I think he should get an opportunity. I think Patrick Kruger now has proven himself with a bat, and I think he can deserve an opportunity. Jason Smith. There's so many other all-rounders that have performed and deserve a chance other than Andile Beklikwayo. I don't think Andile has done enough to deserve a chance. He is now at the stage in his career where I feel he needs to be dominating if he wants to be picked, because he's had enough chances now over the years to show what he can do, and he hasn't taken his chances. He's shown glimpses of his performance, of his talent and his ability, but he hasn't improved drastically like a lot of people predicted that he would. Is there new transformation policy? What was the event about CSA a few days ago? I don't know if there's a new transformation policy yet. I think it's still the same. NY times case 3 is Britsky. If he failed, give it to Mulder. He will give overs 2 and give 7 to some batting all rounder. 3 is Britsky. Oh, third opener. Sorry. Shit, I didn't see the second comment. Ashlan says Patrick Kruger actually showed his skills with the bat and ball. Let's see how he does. Host, do you have any news on young 19-year-olds all-rounder Riley Norton? I don't have any news on him now. We're going to have to wait and see what happens with him. Where he's going to be playing his cricket now in the new season. We haven't been given all the domestic teams yet, and we're going to have to wait and see what he can do if he plays some domestic cricket, and we're going to have to wait and see where he gets picked up. I know the new season is on our doorstep, and we haven't been given the squads yet, so I need to go check what's going to be happening there. I think Tristan Lewis is someone that has been putting up his hand, and I feel that he's really been performing quite well as an all-rounder, but again, he's another number 8. So we needed more number 7, and I think Riley fits more into that number 7 bracket, in my opinion. I mean, he was in the team in the ODI World Cup. He was in the team. I mean, sorry, not in the World Cup. In the games that he has played, he's performed. His performances have looked balanced. So, like when he batted well, he also took wickets. Like he got a 41 and 4 for 28 in a game against Sri Lanka. But then in a game against India, he scored 7 not out and then 0 for 53 with the ball. So like he's kind of looked equal. When he does perform with the bat, he also performs admirably with the ball. So he's a more of a type of number 7 that is more balanced than having a guy that is like mainly batting and then bowling a little. I feel he's a little bit more balanced. He's more like a Dion Forrester type of guy with regards to that. Um, when it comes to that type of performance, he's more balanced as a seven. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. The next game will be tomorrow at 9 o'clock, and then we'll be doing our review show at 10 o'clock on the Monday. So please tune in for that. Please smash the like button, comment and share, and also subscribe and click that notification bell for all future videos. Also, I would like you guys to please subscribe to Cricket Fanatics Magazine Monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. Link is on the screen as well as in the description. Thanks a lot, everybody, for watching. Thanks for the amazing comments. I enjoyed the conversation, even a little bit of the arguing and back and forth. I love that. That gives me a lot of energy in the morning. So thank you to all of you guys. I enjoy the conversations, and I enjoy um, being getting a little bit kickback from you guys as well. I enjoy that we don't always agree on everything. That's supposed to be the this community is all about us giving our opinions and sharing our thoughts about this the sport that we love. So thank you for tuning in and giving your thoughts on all of that. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day, and peace out, everyone.